In this project, I'll explore the correlation between film and the lives of people. A survey I conducted says that over 73% of individuals questioned said they were actually changed by a movie permanently, whether it be by the film storyline, characters in it, or a soundtrack. That says a lot. That says a great deal about uh, good stories and beautifully written scripts and storylines. But it's only certain movies that push us towards behaving in a certain fashion. And in this film, I hope to explore that with you and see what other people think about movies that change their lives as well.
Probably my life as a whole and choices I've made and paths I've taken, I'd have to go with The Dark Knight. I would argue that's actually the movie that made me want to make movies. So my whole life has been shaped around my love for that movie, essentially. But I think the one that leaves the most lasting impact is probably the ending, because when you look beyond just a final fight between Batman and Two Face, there's a subtext that's talking about human nature and good versus evil and like a psychological aspect, which is something that I just find more fascinating every single time I watch that.
How do you think that scene changed you as a person
Ooh.
from who you were before you saw that movie and before you analyzed that scene to who you are now?
A whole new outlook, because up until like a few years ago, I was part of that group who believed that there was so much more good in the world than bad, and I was kind of like was kind of stuck in the bubble I was raised in of, oh, everything's fine, everything's great. And then as I matured more and I analyzed that scene and I was hearing more about the world and I was thinking about that and the way that Batman said Joker wanted to break Harvey just because Harvey was such a good guy, it made me realize in that not everyone's good, and anyone can anyone can turn someone, and they can go to a bad place whenever they want, and there's people out there who are pure evil who just want to manipulate that and just affect people and change people, and in doing so hurt the world.
Overall, I think the movie is beautiful. I mean, it's called Beautiful Boy, so it's going to be beautiful. A very intense movie, but it gives light to a subject, and it is definitely a movie that affects the way that you feel during and after. I think before the movie, I stood at a point where I didn't know a whole lot about like the drug scene, what it does to you, how it affects not just the person taking it, but the people around you, like your friends and your family, and just how intense that situation really is. And then after watching it, and seeing and knowing really how it affects the people that you love and how serious that situation actually is, apart from how serious the drugs are that affect you. And I think the scene that affected me the most in that movie was the very last time that the family said that they would help.
That's not going to happen.
I realize it's actually I need to be home with you guys are gonna give me the strength to stop. Talk to you.
Get help. I love you,
No.
and I hope that you get your life together.
I love you too. I love
I would definitely say it steered me in a more positive direction because of how it resonated with me. It definitely gave me an insight on people who do struggle with a drug addiction. They somewhat can't control it, and you do have to feel for them a little bit and come at a better understanding point. And it also definitely resonated with me of the fact that everybody has their own battle that they're going through, whether we see it physically or we don't see it at all. Families deal with this type of thing on the day to day and they don't tell anybody, or somebody deals with drug addiction and they don't tell anybody and you don't see it. So it's very important, and it resonated with me a lot that everybody has their own battles and you just don't know what they're going through. So the best that you can do is just treat everybody with the same level of respect. But me personally, I would want to make films and be a part of something bigger.
It's a movie called Somewhere in Time, and Christopher Reeves, Gene Seymour, and one of the main reasons I think for it is the score. There is a moment when Christopher Reeves is looking for Jane Seymour's character, and the moment that he finds her and they see each other and they lock eyes for the first time, there's this crescendo of the theme of Somewhere in Time, the song, and it just erupts as soon as they see each other. Like you just hear like the violins, the music, and the setting is beautiful, and the costuming is perfect because it's perfect for that time, and the acting and just the faces, the way they're looking at each other, it's so believable. Like you would think that they were in love, and it's that moment for me that gets me every time. It's almost like a punch to the gut in a good way.
The movie that had the biggest impact on my life was The Danish Girl, because it's the movie that made me realize that I wanted to be a filmmaker as a career, because it's something I always knew I loved, but it made me realize that this is what I want to do full time and this is what I want to commit my life to. So it's The Danish Girl. Well, that movie it kind of awoke so many things in me. And part of that is what kind of filmmaker I want to be. And I always want my stories to have like a deeper meaning into them. In The Danish Girl, this man finds out that he actually wants to be a woman. And when his wife figures that out and finds that out, that he's been dressing up as a woman, I really expected her to like get really mad and throw him out, but she actually helped him through the transition and made sure he took his medication and saw the best doctors. And that resonated with me because I have a cousin that it wasn't until 3 years ago that I knew he was my cousin, because my family kind of kept it in the dark that he was part of the family, because he was born a girl, and when he decided to make the transition into a man, everyone just cut him out of his life. So we didn't have any pictures or any stories, because of that movie, I actually met my cousin and we had a talk and we hung out for a day, and he was really grateful. If someone out there is interested in making movies but is scared that it's a risky thing to do, just go all in.
Films make us feel good about ourselves, but there's always an exception to the rule. Sometimes a film can change us in the worst way.
Something that actually pushed me to a certain position in my life was actually a movie called Heat. That was the movie that actually pushed me to the point to where I went ahead and started committing crimes and committing robberies and things. I had been in the military, so the brotherly aspects of it, and then I'm also a street dude, you know what I mean? So I've been through that. I don't want to elaborate on that too much, but I understood it. But at the same time, I was in a position getting out the military, working for a security firm. I needed money, man. The weight of the world was on me. I was going through some things mentally, and I was like, you know what? Anything I can do to alleviate a lot of the financial burdens and things I had on me, but also too to release a lot of energy. The scene was a shootout scene after the foil bank robbery when Pacino and the other officers had rolled up. Even though people was getting dropped and stuff like that, that wasn't what was scaring me, about anything that I had been going through. I expected that type of ends to myself, just like them dude did. They was ready to rock and roll no matter what, and at the end of the day, those chances that they was taking, they looked at it as being something that was, I don't know, valuable at that point. Like they would give up their life to keep doing what they was doing, and I was on the same thing.
Right. Wow, that's heavy. There's been a few movies that have touched me, that caused a dramatic change in my life. Was a film called Menace to Society. Well, that movie, it was shot in Los Angeles, in South Central, where I grew up. And the character was played by an individual that was similar to me. You know, they filmed it. They filmed the movie in at the same time I was growing up, and I was the same age as the main protagonist named Kane, and he grew up in South Central Los Angeles, and so a lot of the things that he was experiencing in that film that the filmmakers were documenting that they wanted the audience to see, I was experiencing that in real life. It was a part in the film where his grandfather asked him, you know, do you care if you live or die? And he said he didn't know.
Hey, do you care whether you live or die?
I don't know. Come on, man, let's bail. Come on.
And that resonated with me because at that point in time in my life, I didn't know whether I wanted to live or die because of my environment. You know, there's a lot of gangs, a lot of drugs, drug use, a lot of violence against other people, a lot of violence with, you know, police against, you know, individuals that inhabited my neighborhood. And so I just felt disenfranchised. I felt that, you know, I didn't matter, like I didn't have a voice. And so when I saw that, that resonated with me because I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. You know, the filmmakers really hit it right on the nose when, you know, they shot that scene and that dialogue right there. And then coinciding with the end, when Kane was killed in a drive-by shooting, I felt that too, because not too long before the film came out, I had a good friend of mine who I had known since kindergarten get killed in a drive-by. And I was actually supposed to be there. And so that was the first person that was close to me that I had lost. You know, I had known other people who had died before or killed, but nobody as close as Eddie was to me. His name was Eddie Fuentes. And so when he died, I saw how hurt his family was. And I didn't want that to happen to my family, if anything were to happen to me. I decided that I needed to change my life and I needed to leave Los Angeles. And so I did just that. And that scene, that movie was a catalyst to me joining the United States Air Force. And I served my country with distinction after that. And it was all because that, you know, a lot of things were going on in my mind. And that film was the catalyst to me being pushed to the other side to go and to live a better life for myself and not put my family through any kind of heartache. Because that life, that film, that was me. You know, it wasn't just me. It was people that I grew up with too. Thank you for viewing my film, Projections of Real Life. And I hope that something inside the film managed to get you to think about films in a different way. Thank you.